Welcome to The Better Life with Dr. Mary Ann Pinkston. Join Dr. Pinkston today as she teaches you how an integrative approach to health, combining holistic and contemporary medical information, can lead you to the better life. And now, here's your host, Dr. Mary Ann Pinkston.
Good morning, everybody. I am Dr. Mary Ann Pinkston, and this is The Better Life with Dr. Pinkston. And as you know, at the end of the month, every month, I have my powerhouse compounding pharmacist, Ray Solano, who is in Austin, Texas, or most definitely Cedar Park, but I think everybody knows Austin.
We're broadcasting live from Austin, Texas, where it's probably going to be another 105 today.
You know what? It's May. What?
God, it's May, so that's fine. We have lots of heat and no water.
So don't move to Austin. Enough, right? Enough. Oh, you guys. Well, it's not much better in San Antonio, that's for sure.
That's right.
Welcome in, Ray. I know today we've got kind of something we've discussed often, but there's a reason why we hammer this topic, because the GLP medications, the injections of tirzepatide, tirzepatide is Mounjaro, Zepbound, tirzepatide.
Right.
Then you've got the semaglutide. So you've got Wegovy, the Ozempic, and semaglutide. Those are all the same things. Widely used over the last 3 years or so since they kind of hit the market, not only with the pharmaceutical version, but the compounding version. And everybody wants it. So you can go on your, online and just choose anybody you want to, get a prescription, start losing weight, and the magic is there, right? Not really. And so we want people to be very, very careful. It can be a very safe and effective way of losing weight, but also, microdosing, boosting longevity. There's some great data, but people can use it incorrectly. So we want to make sure that we cover some of those things that people know, why they need to have a physician or coach or somebody who knows what they're doing with these medications. And so I leave it to you to kind of cue us in on what the story is here.
It's a favorite topic of everybody. And, we were looking at today to come up with something new, and we say, this is still the hottest topic. One of my pharmacies, friends that runs a very successful sterile facility, had to hire a security guard because people were getting so angry and panicking because they weren't going to get their semaglutide injections. Yeah. Now, that's kind of extreme, but it changes people's lives. And many times their addictions to food is changed, and they don't want to go back. I had one of our staff members that their husband has lost 100 pounds.
Absolutely.
Okay. And so a whole new wardrobe, whole new life. This is, it's almost transformational for everybody. It can work with the proper guidance. And we have very good success in our clinic working with you and Laval Performance Health Center to be able to get to those big numbers and get people to stay that way. And that's the important thing is to do it properly. But unfortunately it is, I guess the freedom of access to medicine, maybe it's curse.
Yeah.
And so maybe I just start out here to get people say, how did we get here? Well, right. First of all, when a medication goes on shortage, okay, pharmacies step in and help out, specialty compounding pharmacies like ourselves and others step in and provide that gap. And thank goodness it was us during COVID, or else people would never have gotten any alcohol. We are sometimes the Marines when it comes to pharmaceuticals. When drugs are out, they can just turn the lights on, make a couple phone calls, and it's amazing. In 48 hours, you'd have something to be able to fill a gap. They were even making Tylenol because it was so out of. So anyway, we have that ability. However, sometimes it goes in overdrive and sometimes causes overlap with pharmaceutical manufacturers that have specific patents on molecules and drugs. And also it may be also in I say violation outside its license of anticipatory compounding. We're not manufacturers. We are pharmacies that produce pursuant to a prescription, and there are certain classifications of manufacturers that are licensed by the FDA as totally different. However, there's lots of regulatory groups to go through. But at the same time, we got a new classification of medications, telemedicine. This was not around 10 years ago. It was not around 5 years ago, because with I guess after COVID, when everybody could do telehealth, it went back. With a quick Zoom call, you can get a diagnosis over the camera. You can get a prescription called into your pharmacy, and everybody said, "Wow, I don't have to go anywhere." Right. And so that has not gone away. And as whenever we have a pandemic, you always have a revolution of something, and we've had a technology revolution since then in healthcare, and that's good, and it's also can be somewhat bad, because sometimes people should not have medication. It's driven on profit as opposed to medicine, and so your profession knows that very carefully. They dance that line all the time. But so on the case of coming back here to this medication, it is the shortage is over. Okay. Yeah. So that means legally then pharmacies are not able to make it, and whatever they have in inventory is going to be gone. So semaglutide, its last day of manufacturing is the 22nd of May. And after that, everybody is not legally able to make it in its exact same form that may be construed as a copy of a pre-manufactured drugs that you mentioned. But there's a wrinkle, okay? And maybe some people are a little bit adventurous and a little bit creative. Well, if you add glycine or B12 or B6 that causes some of the nausea, and you can make a custom formula that you recommend, well, that may be a loophole to be able to manufacture it. So this loophole is being challenged in court right now. So Eli Lilly is sued a number of pharmacies, saying, "Now wait a minute, this is a patent infringement. We own the molecule." So that's going to be settled in court. We don't know where that's going to end up. However, some pharmacies are still being able to do it because they cannot be stopped if the lawsuit is still pending. So you'll see pockets that this is still available. However, the big picture is these medications, okay, are transformational, life-saving, and they can, I would say, extend people's lives but with a capital B. It must be done supervised. This is not something people, you'd be surprised. People ask me all the time, do I need a prescription for it? Because people don't understand that there is a thing called prescriptions. It's not a club membership, or this is just unfortunately some tremendous amount of regulatory loopholes, but it is a prescription. Okay. Second thing, we feel that these medications done properly, people should have a minimal or a complete blood test prior, because you need to be able to rule out underlying comorbidity conditions that cause the tremendous weight gain in the first place. It could be a very serious condition. So it is so important to get a baseline blood test. So that's number two. The number three is you have to work with a licensed practitioner that's knowledgeable in this area. We prefer a face-to-face or a Zoom chat is probably the best. We don't feel a questionnaire is adequate because it's not, there's so many things in our world today that we have to have a face-to-face, and that is significant. So why wouldn't you? They say, well, it really put costs off to the side because we're talking about your life here. How much is it? How much is it worth? How much is it worth to be free from chronic conditions 10 years from now? So just please people to look at that. So that's, you get a blood test, you get a consultation. The second thing is a diet intervention. A consultation with a registered dietitian, because I'm sorry, 80% of the people have no clue how to eat. They don't know the temptations to eating, the temptations for buying is unbelievable. So you have to learn how to eat and what to. It's super simple. It doesn't have to be expensive, but you must go through that.
Absolutely.
The other leg of the stool is you have to have the proper activity, or you get a trainer to work on building muscle. You will lose muscle if you do this, not because of the drug, because of different caloric conditions. Your body will chew up muscle for that protein source because people don't eat enough. So you must have that. And if you do that, and you have follow-up consultations, and you get a follow-up blood test, you will be very handsomely rewarded with a new person.
Absolutely.
And so is that a 6-month journey? Probably. We're looking at an off-ramp here for people that don't have to do the injections. So that's what we're working on. We've launched it for a special chewable form that works on the same receptors that GLP receptors work on. Yes. So this is a lifestyle change. Is it a fountain of youth? Maybe. It's a longevity reset, because we see people's fat lipids change. We see their liver change. We see their high blood pressure change. We see their risk of dementia tremendously reduced. That's huge.
That's huge.
1 out of 3 people are going to have some sort of diminished cognitive function.
Correct.
And Warren Buffett today just announced he was listed. He retired because he felt old. Okay, well, he's 90 when he felt old. Okay, and all of a sudden he found out the ink on the paper was too light, and all of a sudden the people were talking too fast and he couldn't keep up. So he felt old. But I'd like to challenge, how many people in their 60s feel old? Okay. So I'm going to call my dad and ask him. I said, he's 92. I says, do you feel old? And, sometimes that's an insult to somebody who is in their 80s or 90s, because you'll see what the response is. But anyway, the point is, you don't want to feel old when you're 50. You don't want to feel old when you're 60 because of these conditions. So you want to get your life back, your heart risk, your cancer risk, all these things occur. Now, there's another side, nothing is without risks. One of the things that's in the literature now is retinal damage to these medications, or degradation. We don't really know exactly, but there is some degradation of retinal that we think is with high doses that are too high, that there's probably some consequential reductions in some key nutrients, but there is some eye dysfunctionality. So this is the reason why. 1, we got to meter the dose. 2, we got to be able to work with a licensed practitioner that can really understand what to do, because there are side effects. So that's important.
Yes, absolutely. You just put it all into a little compact box right there.
It's all together.
perfectly. So yes, and I do agree. The things that I have seen when patients come, there are three things that kind of hit my brain with all of this. The healthy eating, for one, because patients have a reduced, well, not the healthy eating, but the loss of muscle. So patients do have the reduction in amount of calories. What they do is they reduce their protein. Everybody knows now, I think they're beginning to learn that protein is key. But most patients will say, well, I eat a lot of chicken and fish and beef and, Greek yogurt. And I'm like, you are getting about 80 to 100 grams of protein a day. And that's not enough. So
right.
We need to bump that.
That's a lot.
I put my minimum at 120, and patients still look at me like I have a third eye. But, they should be getting probably 150, but it's hard when your appetite is whacked so much from these, injections. When patients tell me that they are getting hungry again, they're on the routine dose that's effective for everybody. And they tell me, well, my hunger is coming back and I'm not losing. I'm like, you are not eating enough protein. Get your protein in, bump it up. The weight loss will start again and you won't lose muscle. So that very important.
Very important.
Absolutely. The trainer aspect. So everybody knows now that I've had a trainer for, 8, almost 10 years now. To try to maintain muscle and get the muscle, it works. You cannot just get a couple of little bands and sit at home. It's a good way to start. But you have to have somebody guide you to correctly eat enough protein and correctly do form and the right exercises to build muscle. Extremely important. That also builds on bone. So you can lose bone, you can lose muscle,
right.
Those are the things that we have to have monitored. And the last thing is patients always tell me, well, I eat healthy. I have my oatmeal with my bananas or blueberries on top, and that's a healthy meal, or my Cheerios with my fruit on top. And people need to understand what they've learned from the food industry is not healthy eating. They have to go back and learn how to mix protein, fat, and carbs together. And so all of these things you get with a doctor, a nutritionist, a licensed nutritionist, all of these are the thing, and trainer too, certified. So all of these things, it's a team. And we have to have a team built in order to get patients to, like you say, the transformational spot, where you've made the big difference and you've killed an old person and birthed this new person that comes to life. And that's something that is very difficult to do. I know I did it. So
you did it.
It is.
It can be done.
It can be done.
It can be done. It goes slow, but we've never seen anything that changes people's lives like this classification of drugs. And I think, if sooner or later it's going to go from injections to tablets and in this. But maybe people will be more aware of their health. Maybe people will be more aware that being 100 pounds overweight isn't just normal, or I'm just big boned, or I have a thyroid, all kinds of excuses. And, it's so funny. You can really identify what people do by what's in their shopping cart.
Absolutely. Right. Go to Walmart and look at the bottom of somebody's cart and think, oh my Lord.
Yeah.
They don't know.
I'm a peeping Tom in the shopping, in the grocery store, because I try to profile what they have in their grocery cart. And then I look at the person, I go, yeah. That's bad.
Shopping cart voyeurism. That's it. You can tell though if you can. Oh, bless them.
Wow. So let me give you a little update of how to get in touch with us. Prescription Dispensing Labs, we're a research-based compounding pharmacy in partnership with Laval Performance Health, to be able to put together these key things on longevity medicine to really uncouple the root cause of many of these chronic conditions. Combination of the two is really the future of healthcare. Check out our website, PDLabsRx.com, and also LavalPerformance.com if you'd like to be a patient. That's PDLabsRx.com. And you can always call us, and we'll get a live person to answer the phone. It's 512-219-0724, option 2. And you can always check out our website. That's PDLabsRx.com.
Absolutely. And of course, you can go to my website, drpbetterlife.com. You can find on every page information on PDLabs and Laval Performance Health, and get in touch with them, and so make it easy. You can also find all of our previous shows. Ray, we've done this for 3 years now. Just sign the contract for another year. Here we go. So it's been wonderful. 3 years of great information. So thank you for all of that.
And check out our podcast, Doctor Talks, on the podcast, yes. Doctor Talks under Healthy Choices. You'll find all of our tremendous yes. Interviews that we've had, especially some new products that are improving muscle growth. So Dr. Talks, it's all healthy choices.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. Love it. So, all right. Well, I appreciate you being on today and covering this very, very important topic.
That's
and,
right.
It is very important. So I appreciate that very much. And so PDLabsRx.com, drpbetterlife.com.
Yeah, and you are our favorite licensed weight loss practitioner that really makes a difference. So we really endorse what you're doing and appreciate your patients all get better and stay better. That's important.
Absolutely. Well, it's different when you've had somebody who's been through it.
That's it.
Yeah, I didn't learn all this in medical school. I learned this from the hard knocks of life, and I love it. So, yeah, thank you. All right, everybody. I hope you guys have a good week. Ray, thank you. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
You've been enjoying The Better Life with Dr. Mary Ann Pinkston. For more information, go to drpthebetterlife.com. That's drpthebetterlife.com. And listen next week for The Better Life with Dr. Pinkston.